you also talk about talents regarding the kind of challenges you
Talents,
meet.
yes.
Talents.
Yes.
What is lacking in most of the African talents you meet as part of your recruitment needs for your companies? And having said that, how do you solve these problems?
It's a great question. So I think the biggest challenge that we find when it comes to recruitment is there is a big gap, and this gap exists around the world, but I feel it's bigger in Africa. There's a big gap between formal education and work experience that enable you to do the job correctly, right? And in Francophone Africa especially, also we have a Francophone culture where people are very used to just doing what people ask them to do, as opposed to Anglophone culture where people are a little bit more open in their thinking, a little bit more entrepreneurial in their thinking, a little bit more risk-taking in their thinking. And I think this aspect of risk-taking, being able to fail, is really important for a startup. And so some of the challenges we've faced in trying to find the right people is finding people who are not willing to take risks, not willing to jump and hope to land, right? But want to just keep doing, and that's not very good. It's not a good kind of culture for a startup. In startups, everybody needs to be able to take risks because that's how you make big leaps as a startup compared to a much larger company. So that's the biggest gap we have found. Is it's been very difficult. There's a big gap between what people have studied, their formal education, and the capacity to do the work. Right. The second thing I would mention as well is that the kind of people, the quality of people that we would want for a startup, they're not that many, right? And so now you're competing with all the very best and big companies, right? The banks, the Senelex and the Sonatels, the big utility companies, the big consultancies, right? For these very small pool of people. And it's a real shame because what that means is that the demand, right, outstrips the supply to such an extent that when you find a good person, they have such a comfortable life working for these big companies, they don't want to leave, even though, they can do a better job, they can have a much more fulfilling job working for a startup, they don't want to leave. And when they want to leave, they ask for such ridiculous advantages and benefits that the startup cannot give them, that it's difficult to get them. And this is the real challenge.
So how do you solve that? As you have to recruit, you have to make your business grow. And I mean, I saw people in your offices there when I came. There are people working. How do you feel the gap?
It's a good question. I think I think if I'm really honest with you, one of the best ways we've solved this is to find a great headhunter, like Yann. That has been one of the best strategies, honestly, that we have used. I think another strategy that I believe works is for us to look for what we call returnees in Nigeria, which is Senegalese people who want to come back to Senegal, Nigerians who want to come back to Nigerians. These are some of the best people to recruit for two reasons. For them, it's not just about money. It's not just about benefits, right? For them, they really want to come back home to make a difference. And that's a different mindset from some of the people you would find locally.
Just the way you were when you came from the US and settled in Senegal.
Exactly. For me as a returnee, I was coming back. It wouldn't matter to me how much money I earned. Yeah. It was more important for me to come back and feel like it was fulfilled in trying to achieve something personally, right? And that's the first advantage of those people. The second advantage of those people is they've been exposed to a different work environment. They've been exposed to an international level of work, an international quality of working. So again, their expectations of what quality of work means is typically higher than we would find here. I'm sorry to say that, right? So those are the kind of some of the ways we've solved that problem. Another innovative solution we've used in the past is, it turns out that there are a lot of very experienced executives around the world who have either retired or are retiring and want to make an impact. Okay. They want to come to Africa to make an impact. They're Americans.
Retired people.
Retired people. They're Americans, they're French, they're English people. And we've had one or two of those people, and they would come here, they would spend maybe 2 weeks or a month for you, but they would help you solve a very specific, complex problem. An example of that was we had a guy from Microsoft called Thomas Dreller, who is right now he's on our board. It shows you how great that relationship worked out. But he came and he spent 2 weeks with us. And in those 2 weeks, he helped me solve problems that would have taken me maybe, honestly, about a year to solve. In those 2 weeks. That was how high level he was, And those sort of kind of innovative ways that we're using to solve this problem.